Hey everyone, this is Jason Bell. In this session, I'm at Texas Card House playing 1-2 no limit hold'em. Max buy-in was 300. The night started off great, and then towards the end it kind of trailed off a bit. But quick heads up, next week on July 4th, I will be in Las Vegas, Nevada playing in the Independence Day World Series of Poker event. It's an $800 buy-in, but for now, hope you enjoy. Okay, this is the first hand of the evening. I am on the button and I look down at a premium. 4-7 of spades. Can't get any more premium than that. I'm just kind of hoping everyone just folds to me and I can play this one. But it ends up the hijack limps, and you know what? I think I'm going to play this one anyways. I go ahead and raise to $12. However, the small blind 3-bets to $35. The hijack folds, and this is one where I probably should fold for sure. But, you know, being the first hand of the evening, I don't want to show any weakness. I go ahead and make the call for $35 and see what the flop's going to show. Anyways, the flop comes 4 king 10 with 2 diamonds, 1 spade. The small blind bets $40, and you know, I've got backdoors here. I've got a backdoor spade draw. I did hit bottom pair, and you know, pretty horrible kicker, but I'm gonna go ahead and bleed one out for one more street, so I go ahead and make the call. The turn is the 4 of hearts. Oh yeah, I make trips, and the small blind leads out for $70. I'm not going anywhere now. Now the question becomes, do I call, do I raise? You know, what does he have? That big of a 3-bet from the small blind really screams ace king here, and I'm pretty sure I'm good. I don't think he's on a diamond draw, so then I go ahead and make the call for 70. The river is the 3 of diamonds, so it completes the front door flush draw potential. The small blind goes all in for his remaining stack of about $153, and I didn't get the feeling that he was on a diamond draw, and I really felt strongly that he just had ace king, no diamonds. I go ahead and call for my remaining stack, $151 effective. I show my trip 4s, and the small blind mucks. Nice size pot here. Okay, in this hand I am in the big blind, and I look down at actual premium, ace queen suited. Nice little starting hand. The under the gun +1 limps, the low jack limps, the hijack decides to raise to $12, the cutoff calls, and I'm in an interesting predicament. The fact that the under the gun +1 limped means that they're still likely fairly strong. And then the low jack may know that, may not. And then the hijack raised to 12, the cutoff called the 12. This is one where I could put on a pretty big squeeze, but I decide to call. The under the gun +1 ends up calling, and the low jack calls. So we are 5 ways to a flop, which comes 9, 10, 4 rainbow. It checks to the cutoff, who bets $20. I've got 2 overs here, and I don't think I'm going to go anywhere here. I'm going to float an additional street. I go ahead and make the call. The under the gun +1 calls, low jack folds, and the hijack makes the call. So we are 4 ways to a turn, which comes the jack of clubs. I check, the under the gun +1 checks, and it ends up checking around. The river is the ace of clubs. All right, I've got top pair, really good kicker. I decide to check from the big blind. It's certainly possible somebody has king queen, so I decided to play it a little bit safe. It's possible that somebody's got two pair here, you know, maybe ace 10, ace 9, ace 4. But I go ahead and check, and the under the gun +1 bets $30. The hijack calls the $30, and you know, this is such a good price. I'm not certain that my ace queen is good, but it's certainly possible. I make the call, and the under the gun +1 shows ace 6 offsuit, and the hijack shows ace queen offsuit. I show my ace queen suited, and the hijack and I split the pot, so I'll take it. Okay, in this hand I'm in the big blind again, and I look down at pocket 9s. I'll take it. It folds to the hijack, who raises to $12, and then it folds to the button, who ends up putting in a 3-bet to $40. And I'm not going to go anywhere with my pocket 9s. I could put on the squeeze, I could put in the 4-bet, but pocket 9s for a 4-bet is going to be a little bit light. And I go ahead and make the call, and the hijack folds. So we're heads up to a flop, which comes 9, 10, king with 2 diamonds. Oh yeah, I hit my set. I make the check, And the button ends up checking behind me, so this is interesting. Why would he check here? I'm not quite certain. Could he have something like ace jack, ace queen? It's possible. Could he be trying to trap with pocket kings, tens or so possible? Or maybe he has pocket queens. Not quite certain, but the turn comes the ace of hearts. Still, if he has maybe ace king or even pocket queens, I'm still feeling pretty good here. I go ahead and lead out for $80, about a pot-sized bet, just under, and the button makes the call. If he had something super strong like kings or tens, I'm certain he would have probably 3-bet me. The river comes the 8 of clubs. Okay, so a queen jack gets there. Of course, pocket kings, pocket tens are going to beat me, but the way he was betting, the fact that he checked after the flop, I feel like I'm pretty good here, so I put in a pretty hefty size bet of nearly pot, $200, and the button makes the call. I show my flopped set, and he shows ace king for 2 pair, and I take this one down. Nice size pot here. Okay, I am in the big blind yet again, and I look down at a pretty decent hand, queen jack of diamonds. The under the gun limps, the hijack limps. I'm going to bump this one up. So I bump it to $18, and only the hijack makes the call. So we're heads up to a flop, which comes jack 10-9 rainbow. So I make top pair, pretty decent kicker, but being out of position, I'm going to make the check here. The hijack bets $20, about half size pot, and of course I'm not going anywhere. I make the call. I guess a case could be made for putting in the raise because not only do I have top pair, but I've got an open-ended straight draw as well, but I end up making the call. The turn is the queen of clubs. So I make 2 pair, but really any 8 or any king has got me here. So 2 pair here is not the best in the world based on this board. I check, and the hijack checks behind. So this is interesting. What could he have here? The river is the ace of spades. So again, yes, the king is good, any 8 is good. I decide to go ahead and lead out for $55, about 2/3 size pot here. I didn't really get a good reading on this guy. It didn't really feel to me by his mannerisms or by his betting that he really connected very well with this board. So I bet 55, and the hijack ends up making the fold. So I take a pretty decent sized pot here. Okay, I'm in the cutoff in this hand, and I look down at a pretty decent hand, ace jack. The under the gun limps and folds around to myself. I bet $15, and the under the gun is the only one that makes the call. So we're heads up to a flop, which comes 4 king 8 rainbow. It's about as dry as it gets. The under the gun checks. I bet $15 for about a half size pot C bet, and then he pretty much snap goes all in for a little over $100 effective. And being how this is such a pretty dry board, I'm fairly certain he's got something pretty good here. Likely ace king, king queen, king jack. Maybe not king jack, because I've got the jack blocker. But regardless, this board's too dry, and going all in, I'm not going to stick around for this one. This is a fold for me. Okay, in this hand, I am under the gun +1, and I look down at a premium ace king of hearts. The under the gun folds, and I raise to $15. Middle position calls. It folds to the small blind, and he 3-bets to $60. This is interesting. What could the middle position have? What could the small blind have? I decide to go ahead and 4-bet jam for about $170 effective. And of course, the middle position gets out of the way, and the small blind thinks about it for a bit. This makes me think that he for sure doesn't have aces or kings. I've got the blockers anyways. I'm thinking he's probably got queens or jacks here. And he ends up making the call. The flop comes 9 high, the turn is a 6, and the river is a 2. He shows pocket tens, which I was afraid of a pocket pair, the queens or jacks. And, I guess we were a coin flip here, and he won the coin flip this time around. I lose and live to fight another day. Okay, in this hand, I am in the big blind yet again. Big blind was my favorite position the entire night. And I look down at a pretty decent one, 7-8 of hearts. The under the gun limps, the middle position limps, the button limps, the small blind limps, and yep, I'm going to make the check here. So that's what I do. The pot is a whopping $10, and the flop comes 2-4-8 rainbow. Small blind checks, I make the check, and it ends up checking around. So that tells me it's possible that nobody really hit the board. The turn is the 6 of clubs. It's very possible I have the best hand here. I've got top pair, but a pretty weak kicker. I lead out for 10 bucks. The under of the gun makes the call, and the middle position makes the call as well. So we're finally building the pot. It's a whopping 40 bucks, and the river is the 6 of spades. I think my hand's probably still pretty good here. I lead out for $20. The under of the gun folds, and the middle position makes the call. Middle position shows 7-8 offsuit, and we actually split the pot. Hey, look what position we're in. Yep, big blind yet again. But I look down at a premium pocket queens. I will take it. The under the gun limps, and the under the gun +1 raises to a hefty $35. You don't really see that big of a raise in a 1-2 game. It quickly folds around to myself, and I'm not going to go anywhere with my pocket queens. I'm not going to put in the raise either in the event that they've got aces or kings. So I make the call. The under the gun quickly gets out of the way. Pot is $73, and the flop is King 9. I'm going to check to this pre-flop aggressor, and she makes the check back. So this is interesting. The fact that a king's on the board makes me think that, okay, maybe she doesn't have a king, and it's very possible she doesn't have aces. If she had aces or a king, she'd likely bet here, but she didn't. The turn is the 10 of clubs. I'm making the check yet again, and she makes the check. So this is interesting. I'm not quite certain what she has. It's very possible she's got pocket jacks here, and the river is another 9, so we've got a double paired board. I make the check because I'm kind of at a loss for what she could possibly have, and she goes all in for her remaining $85, and this is just a confusing move. I don't see that she's got a king. She certainly didn't bet like it. It has to be jacks the way that she bet pre-flop. I make the call, and nope, she doesn't have jacks. She shows pocket kings for flopped quads. Whoa. I was smoked here, and yeah, she was trapping the entire time. Kudos to her, and yeah, I lost this one. This was a tough one. Okay, I promise this is the last hand. We will be in the big blind. But, yep, we are in the big blind one last time. Look down at King of Clubs, 7 of Diamonds. It folds to the low jack, who raises a whopping $6. Small blind makes the call, and of course I'm going to go ahead and make the call, being that it's just $4 more. The pot is $18, and the flop becomes 9-9-10. Small blind checks, I check, and the low jack checks as well. Turn is the King of Diamonds. All right, so I've got top pair here, pretty horrible kicker. Because of that kicker, I'm going to check, and the low jack bets a whopping $5. Guess that was too much money for the small blind, who ends up making the fold, and I'm not going to go anywhere with my top pair here. I make the call. River is the jack of diamonds. I check here, and the low jack now bets $15. I'm going to go ahead and make the call here. He might have a higher kicker, but I guess I'm going to pay to see it, and I make the call. I show my King 7, and he mucks, and I win here. All right, I am not in the big blind in this hand. I am in the cutoff, and I look down at pocket 9s. Yep, second time I've got pocket 9s this evening. The under of the gun and the under of the gun +1 limp. Middle position raises to $7. Okay. I decided to put in a 3-bet, and I 3-bet to $25. Well, that's 3x the initial raise, right? Plus any additional money that hit the table. So $25, I guess it was the appropriate 3-bet sizing, but I can tell you it's probably the smallest 3-bet I've ever made. And in hindsight, I wish I had bet more, and you will see why in a moment. The under of the gun and the under of the gun +1 get out of the way, so we're heads up to a flop, which comes King 4-4. Middle position checks, and I put out a C-bet. A little under half-size pot of $25, and the middle position player calls. What could he have here? I'm not quite certain. I don't think he's got a king, given that initial raise was so small. Regardless, the turn is the King of Hearts, so it's very unlikely that he's got a king, being that the board is double paired. The river, the 10 of diamonds. I'm pretty much giving up at this point. It's certainly possible he's slow playing a king. It's certainly possible he's got a 10, maybe an ace 4. I'd seriously doubt it. He would have put in a lot more money. The middle position bets $20. This is, less than 20% of the pot. I'm at a loss for what he could have here. I make the call, and he shows 4-5 offsuit. Okay, he made the trips, and yeah, he's going to take this one down. I guess this is Texas poker for you. And the under the gun and the +1, although they limp, they're in the pot, and the middle position decides to put in a raise, albeit it was very small. Raise with 4-5 offsuit. Very interesting. Well, we live to fight another day. Okay, in the final hand of the evening, I am in the hijack position, and I look down at a pretty hand here. King Jack of clubs. The under the gun and middle position players both limp. I decide to raise this one up, so I raise it to 15 bucks, and both players call. The pot is a little under $50, and the flop comes Jack, King, Deuce. All right, 2 pair right off the bat. The under the gun checks, and the middle position player bets 10 bucks. I decide to single out this middle position player, so I raise it to 30 bucks. The under the gun folds, and unfortunately, the middle position player folds as well. This is one where, man, I probably should have just called the 10. The flop was a rainbow, and the board was too scary for those guys, and they let it go. That's all right. I win. Pretty small pot, but overall, I guess I'll take it. Another interesting session at Texas Card House here on Friday night, June 28th. Played 1-2, no limit, with a max buy-in of $300. Of course, that's what I bought in for, $300. It was an interesting night. Started off strong and got some really good hands at first, and then really couldn't connect with the board after that. But it's still a profitable night. It's in for $300, out for $541 for a profit of $241. Hope you enjoyed the video.